and welcome back to Fan Fatales, a member of the Real Fans Network. I'm Emma.
And I'm Gabby, and in this episode, we're going to be going back to Broadway as we talk about some theater icons.
Yes. Now, the different categories of theater icons that we will be discussing are iconic costumes, sets, actor and actresses, and roles.
Yeah.
So shall we get started?
Yeah, I think we need to start right now with
Okay.
the best category first.
Well, with the rules first of our bracket.
You explain it. You explain it.
Okay. So for each category that we are going to be discussing, Gabby and I chose our top 6, and we are going to be pinning against each other bracket style. And we will be pinning like my number 1 against my number 2, and Gabby's number 1 against her number 2, and so on and so forth. And may the best one win.
Yeah.
So shall we start with the first category?
Yeah, and you're first. So you're number 1 and you're number 2
so
first.
Our first category is costumes, and my number 1 was the red dress in Annie. I mean, every production of Annie will have this costume. The dress I'm talking about is her dress at the very end of the show, the red with the curly wig and the red with the white little like Peter Pan collar. And it's mostly because the comic strip Little Orphan Annie that inspired this 1977 musical comedy regularly featured the title character in this outfit. Now, my number 2 is the Phantom mask in Phantom of the Opera, and this has become a symbol of the show since its opening in 1988. This mask hides the prosthetics that the Phantom actor has, and over 300 masks have been made for the Broadway run alone, with each actor having a mask custom made to the shape of their face.
Which is honestly very impressive. I mean, all of those like prosthetics take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting.
I can't imagine it. I know. I love it so much.
I think that's a lot of work going into that.
It really is. A lot of the costumes I chose, minus like Annie, for it's just like, I don't know, sheer like everyone knows that costume, are very technical prowess.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly think Phantom has to move on to the next round.
I think so too. I mean,
it's
been the symbol of the show since 1988.
Yeah, Phantom is more iconic than Annie, sorry. And it's not just because I hate Annie.
I know, you hate Annie so much.
So I think we're going to say Phantom is moving forward.
Yes. The Phantom mask, yes.
Yes. So then
what is your number 1 and number 2?
Yeah. My number 1 and number 2 are, first I have Glinda's bubble gown from Wicked.
Yes.
So this is when Glinda the Good is first introduced. She's wearing this ginormous, literally 45 pounds of fabric.
Yeah.
And it's a huge floor-length, like, perfect bubble blue ball gown. She also has this, like, elaborate tiara and scepter, and it's beautiful and gorgeous. So costume designer Susan Hilferty said she was inspired by the sky, and she explains that there are 25 different kinds of sequins used on the bubble dress alone. 25 different kinds. Oh, and they're all hand sewn on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So the bubble dress was intended to appear like a wedding dress or every girl's fantasy of a like princess ball gown, like the quintessential princess dress. That's what it was supposed to be. And there are also 9 different fabrics used in the construction of this dress. Link down below. I'll link all of the links.
Yeah.
My second ball gown in this one is Belle's yellow ball gown. It's like iconic. Need I go on? Like, despite resembling the original dress, costume designer Hold Ward, that's their last name. I couldn't find their first name, sorry. Based her version of the gown on several historical portraits and artworks, and this one also weighs 30 to 40 pounds.
Jesus.
The costume was made of silk and consisted of a hoop skirt, brocade, beading, flowers, bows, lace, and ribbons, and Hold Ward won a Tony Award for Best Costume Design for her work on Beauty and the Beast. So, I think that's kind of a hard choice. but I'm leaning a
It's a
little
really
bit more
hard
towards.
choice.
I'm leaning a little bit more towards Glinda.
I am too, honestly.
Because I feel like Belle's dress is iconic because it's Belle, not because of like Broadway.
Yeah, I agree.
The movie
it's because
is
of the
yellow
cartoon.
dress. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Glinda, I think.
I think so too.
Okay. So your next two.
So I also have a princess on my list, and she's my number 3. And it's the Cinderella quick change dress in the Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella, the 2010 revival.
Mm-hmm.
So originally the musical, so she has to transform from rags to riches in a matter of seconds on stage during the song Impossible. And originally when Rodgers and Hammerstein wrote Cinderella, it was made for television, which meant that the transformation could be done with special effects and carefully chosen camera angles. But in 2012, when a stage adaptation of the work premiered on Broadway, costume designer William Ivey Long, who earned his 6th Tony Award for this production, devised onstage magic of his own for the same moment. Most of the effect was achieved by using reversible fabric panels, though some stage magic, pull strings, and sleight of hand was involved to suddenly give her the big poofy skirt. But, her giant ball gown is hidden in her maid costume.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes. And then my next one is a Disney show, actually. And it is all the puppets and headpieces in The Lion King on Broadway.
Julie Taymor is a god.
Yes.
She literally is.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
So Tony Award-winning director and designer Julie Taymor, along with designer Michael Curry, hand-sculpted and painted every prototype mask that now appears in the iconic Circle of Life opening of show. And there are 232 puppets in the show, including rod, shadow, and full-size puppets, and some were even inspired by Japanese puppetry. And with the masks, Taymor creates what she calls this double effect, which enables the audience to see the characters as animal and human at the same time. So this is like the masks that like all the lions wear, and some of them are even like the actors have like a remote to like make it move down and like make it look like they're like going lower and everything.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yes. This is a hard one for me because we have some on-stage magic happening, but also Julie Taymor.
I think I have to say Lion King.
I think so too. I don't know. It's just hard.
It is really hard because, okay, that Cinderella moment is technically so impressive.
Yes, I had to have some sort of quick change in my outfits.
I mean, the Cinderella outfit is technically really impressive.
Yeah.
However, the Lion King costumes are so iconic. Like, you see the lion heads that Julie Taymor made, and everybody knows instantly, like, that's the Lion King.
Yeah, like, Shrek on Broadway when they made the reference to Lion King.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that? Like, they just recreated some of the masks and did the Natsabenya, there's an ogre, and a donkey, or whatever the whole thing was.
Yeah. They, like, literally made a joke about it.
Yes.
I think it has to go to Lion King.
I think so, too.
Okay. Mine. You're going to be shocked what my third one is. Okay. I'll be the first to admit. I
hate this show.
Strongly hate cats. I hate cats so much. However, as much as I hate to admit it, the costumes, literally, so iconic. So 80s, but so iconic. It's literally the painted bodysuits with the fur cowl neck things and those freaky wigs. Like, you literally, everybody knows what they look like.
Yeah.
Like, even people who've never seen the musical Cats know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, it's so well known, and I hate it. But, like, it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The design was done by John Napier, and he was a freaking genius, because as sucky as the show is, and as stupid as the premise of it is, it's so good.
Yeah.
Like, so that's my thoughts. There's not really much I could find about the costumes. I tried, but it was the 80s.
True.
Not many people want to talk about Cats, I guess. No, I couldn't
even
find
it for what was it? For the tour that's going on?
Nope. I found it for the movie. That's all that came up, was the movie. Even though I typed in musical, all that came up was the movie. And it was like all CGI. And I was like, that's stupid. That defeats the purpose. So, anyway, there's that. My other one I have is Persephone's green dress from Hadestown.
Okay.
She also has a black iteration of this dress that's very pretty.
Yeah.
But in every iteration of this costume, Persephone, in this context, it was always amber gray, has been in this shade of green. She is spring and summer as we begin, and brings life and energy and hope to the world and to those we meet in the bar. But the dress has changed as we developed into the world of Hadestown, and it became black and dark and miserable, right? That really dark black color. So it's about representation and explosion, again taken from Amber as she developed her performance. And those mad asymmetrical sleeves shot out of my pencil as I drew her. That was from designer Michael Crass. He was also Tony nominated. He was nominated for Hadestown, Noises Off, Mackinac, The Constant Wife, Charlie Brown, 12 Angry Men, Heisenberg, and new plays by Joe DiPietro, Stephen Belber, Nikki Silver, and Elaine May.
Wow.
Yeah. So, very well-known designer, very, very, not very award-nominated designer. I just think it's really cool. I think the sleeves are gorgeous. I think they're unique.
I do too.
And I think the whole design for Hadestown, honestly, when it comes to the costume design for the whole show, I think is very unique. And it's something we haven't really seen done before, because it's not like direct. It's very conceptual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's trying to evoke a feeling. It's not so like in your face, this is what it is. And I feel that's very similar with Cats. I feel like Cats doesn't really just hand you cats on a plate. It's like Cats is like, here are these things that kind of look like cats. Here you go. Figure it out for yourself. Yeah. They're humanoid cat things, So that's why I pinned these two together.
I think Cats has to win, as much as I hate it to say it.
Yeah, I think so too.
It just has to, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Cats too. Sadly. As much as I hate to admit it. It's everybody knows it.
Yeah.
So, okay. Moving on. Your next two.
Okay. Hold on, let me get back up. So, these next two are kind of both girl groups, which is kind of why I pinned them against each other.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is All Six Queens in the musical Six. And Gabriella Slade, who was the costume designer for Six,
I love her name.
I know. Described in an interview that she researched each queen on their own to get to know them, and then transitioned into researching fashion trends in the Tudor era. For example, the lattice work effects on Howard's skirt and Boleyn's costume have Tudor elements, and the slashed effects on Parr's costume was seen in men's doublets in the Tudor period.
Mm-hmm.
And Slade also took inspiration from pop artists like Beyonce, Ariana Grande, Adele, Alicia Keys, and more.
You can absolutely see the Alicia Keys inspiration with the last one. Parr, her. Yeah. Absolutely, you can see the inspiration of Alicia Keys. Her hair looks just like Alicia Keys.
Yeah. And then, while Slade sought to give each queen their own visual identity and personality, she recognized that they would need to be tied together for the cohesion of the show. So each queen has their own color and defined silhouette, but she used black and metal accents to tie all of their costumes together to be
Which
one
I think is
set.
very smart.
I do too. Also, one thing I didn't write down in notes from like articles was Boleyn and Howard. Boleyn and Howard, they both have
choker
chokers.
necklaces.
Yeah, and they're both the ones that got beheaded. Like a very clever little thing to do.
It's very smart.
Yeah. And then my next one is the
also,
Heathers.
I think both of the queens that were divorced, Howard and Cleves.
Yeah.
I think they both have like little tiara things.
I think so too.
But I think Parr has one too. So I'm kind of like, it might just be.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. It's really interesting. I think, look at the costumes. They're gorgeous. They're great.
Yeah, they're great. I love them.
They're so good.
The next one is the blazer looks for the Heathers in Heathers. I mean, come on.
Absolutely iconic.
They're inspired by the original 80s film Heathers. The costume designer was tasked with making a look inspired by the 80s for the three mean girls and the protagonist. And Amy Clark, the costume designer, describes, so the color story is totally there. The shoulder pads are totally there. But we needed to turn that into a silhouette that worked for movement and that worked for the dancers. So they took this iconic 80s style, but made it, for dancers and like hiked up the skirts a little bit and made it more tailored and all that compared to the original movie.
Which I kind of prefer the style of the original movie just a little better, though.
I do too.
I love that it's not so blocky. I feel like the blazers and Heathers on the stage are like a lot more obvious when it comes to the coloring than they are in the film. Like in the film, it's a lot more subtle. And it's like they wear the accents of those colors, right? Their blazer may be gray, but it has red stripes on it, or it has red accents in the plaid.
I agree.
And the socks are red, and the shoes are red, and the scrunchies are red, right? It's not so much like red blazer, plaid skirt, red socks, red scrunchie, red, It's a little bit more subtle, which I kind of like.
I know that there was a production in Australia, I think, that did it based on the 80s film with the gray and the red blazer.
Blazer? Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. In my opinion, though, I think 6 wins just a little bit.
I think
just
so
by a
too.
little bit. You think so too?
Just because of how, she took Tudor period and modern day pop artists and melded them together to be such an iconic look for the show.
I agree.
Yeah. Because who knew that would work?
Yeah. And you can see the inspiration. Like, it's not coming from nothing,
No. And I think the article that will be linked down below actually says which queen was kind of inspired by the pop artist. I didn't write it down in my notes.
Yeah. You can see it. Like, you can obviously see that Catherine Howard was inspired by Ariana Grande, the ponytail.
Yeah.
Right? The iconic Ariana Grande ponytail. Beyonce is like,
I forget which one she was.
The first one.
Yeah, that's
Aragon.
what I was going to say.
Catherine of Aragon, right?
Yeah, Aragon.
Jane Seymour is very Adele with the skirt and the dress and the, you can tell. Not gonna lie, I always felt like Anne of Cleves was very like Nicki Minaj.
I do too.
Like, I get that vibe. The shorts,
honestly,
and then
so
the bodysuit.
How many did we have? Yeah, how many pop artists did we have?
That's also very Beyonce, though. The bodysuit thing is very Beyonce.
True. I just love it so much.
I do too. We're letting 6 move on. Okay, next one.
Yeah.
Okay. once we get through like the explanation of all of them, it'll be really quick going after, because we'll just be like, okay, Phantom or Lion King, you know, which is better? It's just the explanation that takes a long time. We swear it won't be so long. Okay, so my last two are very different. These are like wild card. They have nothing in common. So, my first one is just like the entirety of Rent. Every costume in Rent. I know, you just rolled your eyes at me so hard, but the entirety of Rent is gorgeous. Rent was designed to be an ensemble show, and it is pulled off beautifully, right? Okay, the designer, I can't, what's her first name? It doesn't say, but Wendt is her last name. Wendt. It took her 6 weeks to prepare the iconic ensembles for this show. Oh, this is for the tour, by the way. This is for the recent tour. She underscored the importance of collaboration and helping the pieces come to fruition, not only working with the director, lighting designer, and choreographer, but also with Wendt's core team, associate designer Katie Mullerkins, wardrobe supervisor Katie Dean, and hair and makeup designer and supervisor, oh my gosh, I'm going to butcher this so hard and I'm so sorry, Yulitzin Alvarez, plus a squad of tailors, artists, and crafters. Quote, it just really depends on who walks in. I like to integrate the actor with the costume, which I appreciate. Like, the original Broadway show set, like, an idea of what the characters are supposed to look like, but you can tailor it based off of who comes in, right? Like, if a girl who's 6 foot tall and weighs 100 pounds comes in to play Mimi, right? You can put her in something a lot different than somebody like me who's 5'3" and 150 pounds, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you can totally design it based off of who comes in and people's personalities, which I enjoy. I love that. Also, also Angel's costumes in every scene are just amazing.
Yeah.
I especially love the Happy New Year costume. Especially in the 2008 production with that hollow dress. It's so cute.
Yeah.
Okay. That's my first one. I love Rent. I will talk about it forever if you let me. The last one I have is Dolly Levi's Harmonia Gardens dress from Hello Dolly. The red one with the feathers.
That one was, if we had done more, that one would have been on my list.
Yeah. So, Freddie Whittop's tailored and colorful costume designs for the 1964 Broadway musical Hello Dolly won him a Tony Award for Best Costume Design. Of all the finery adorned with beads and buckles and bows, quote, the most memorable costume in the show was Dolly Levi's Harmonia Gardens dress, a full-length scarlet gown glittering with tiny baubles, accessorized with long white gloves, and a feathered headdress made for an eye-catching ensemble for original star Carol Channing. Sashaying down the stairs to the strains of a musical title song, Dolly reclaims her place in society at her favorite haunt. Whittop's original rendering for the costume was featured on an episode of Antiques Roadshow, and it was valued at $5,000 for its iconic status as one of Broadway's most recognizable costumes. Which I think, I hate to say it, based on that alone, I think that beats out Rent in a heartbeat.
I was just about to say that.
I hate to say it, but it does. It just does.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so
Ryan.
Now we have to pin the Phantom mask against Lion King.
I think Lion King.
I think so too.
Well, because, okay, think of it. The Phantom is just one costume. The Lion King is a whole show.
True.
I'm going to say Lion King.
Yeah.
Okay. Glinda versus Cats.
Gaby, I have no idea.
I think Cats. No, I think Glinda, actually. Because, like, okay, think of it this way. Show literally anybody, anywhere, a picture of both. Which do you think is more recognizable? I think Glinda.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, the movie, like, I think it just is.
Yeah.
Like, many people know Cats, but some people are going to be like, what the hell is that? Why are you showing me a picture of somebody in a fursuit?
Yeah,
this
like,
is weird.
oh, like, right outside, or not even right outside Wicked, because, you know, I went to New York over December, over Christmas break,
Mm-hmm.
there were just like signs for Wicked around town, but it would just be a picture of whoever was Glinda at the time in the iconic dress. Nothing else.
Exactly. That's all you need.
No, yeah.
It's perfect. It encompasses the magic and the
whimsy. The other side
whimsy.
was Defying Gravity moment with the current Elphaba.
I was gonna do that, but a lot of people don't know like the specificities, and you can't really see how beautiful the dress actually is from the stage.
Yeah.
Whereas with Glinda's, you really can.
Yeah.
Okay, 6 versus Hello Dolly. I want to hear what you have to say first, because I already have my mind made up, but...
I don't know. I think Hello Dolly because of the $5,000.
Well, not only that, I think just because it's been around a long time, like, people
yeah, it's
from
been around
multiple...
since 1964. We're pinning something from 1964 against 2021.
No, like 2019.
Yeah, 2019.
So, like, I think, you know, Dolly is just iconic. It is part of the golden age of Broadway.
Yeah.
You just can't ignore that.
Yeah.
Okay, so our final 3. Lion King, Glinda, and Dolly.
It has to be between Lion King and Dolly, right?
I think it's between Glinda and Dolly.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I guess we've decided there. It's Dolly, because we both said it's between this one and Dolly. So there it is.
Okay, there we go.
There we go. So Dolly Levi's Harmonia Gardens dress from Hello Dolly is, in our opinion, definitively the most iconic costume on Broadway. Moving on.
To the most frustrating category to find notes for.
Yes. So I have a little rant about this at the beginning of our notes. So
I know.
The next category is sets. And my little note is that it's very frustrating how hard it is to find information about sets and any technical design that isn't costumes. I, at heart, love set design. I love designing sets. I love doing lighting design. I love doing sound design even. It's a little bit more boring than the other two, but I still love it all. You know, my little techie heart hurts so bad that the designers for these sets don't get the recognition that they deserve.
Yeah.
Because, well, I mean, how many years were set design, sound design not included in the Tonys? Literally, there's a break of like 50 years. Maybe not 50, but like 40 years at least where they're not included in the Tonys. It's like from 1966 is like one of the last Tonys that has set design until 2000. 2000! Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, there is no show without set, lights, and sound.
Yeah.
And there wasn't an award for sound design until 2014. I could be wrong. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's something like that. Like, it was fairly recent.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's my little rant. Now I want to talk about one of my favorite sets of all time.
Oh my god.
It's literally so extravagant and so over the top, and I have wrote almost an entire page about it. I love it. So, I'm going to be talking about the 2017 revival of Miss Saigon. So, my first bullet point is they land a freaking helicopter on the stage. A freaking helicopter. Almost an entire freaking helicopter. That's so much. So, how do you put a flying helicopter on stage? First, you have to gut it out, leaving only the front, the rotor, a tail light, and the cockpit. The entire thing is made of, quote, fiberglass and glitter, end quote. Deadpan's set designer Kinley. And then set designer Kinley explains that it's attached to a big steel piece of engineering, quote, end quote, which allows it to land on stage, pick up the main character Chris, and whisk him away. Which, I mean, if you've ever seen the show, it does. It really does. That show is on Amazon. Go watch it. It's so good.
It really is.
It's
good.
I sob. It is, it makes me cry so hard. Okay, next bullet point. The Morning of the Dragon number features a giant golden head of Ho Chi Minh, while the American Dream now contains a giant Statue of Liberty head that, quote, vomits the engineer's Cadillac onto stage, which is true. The mouth opens up and the engineer's Cadillac goes hurling out onto the stage. And it's a real Cadillac, like a real car. They have a real helicopter, they have a real car, they have a giant Statue of Liberty head, they have a giant head of Ho Chi Minh, they have literally hundreds of dragons. Like, come on. Okay, moving on. Sorry, I'm getting really heated. My volume is going to be off the charts in this one. So, it's...
Hey, mine were off the charts for the one I edited today.
Okay, so set designer Kinley added with a laugh, it's quite obscene, which is true. It is very obscene, but I love it. Okay, next. In conceptualizing the design, Driver and Kinley were inspired by war photography. I'm pretty sure Driver was the director, but I'm not sure. I think. Read the article. It explains in the article.
Yeah.
In conceptualizing the design, Driver and Kinley were inspired by the war photography of the era. Quote, I was upset initially with all of the burnt out images of the villages that happened due to the bombings, and what was left of it were these skeletal shapes of villages, and I always felt that these were a very strong visual point for creating a world, explains Driver. Throughout the process, Kinley and Driver were determined not to distract from the heart of the story. Quote, this is a love story about Kim and Chris, end quote, says Driver. Quote, that is the major note for us designers, not to get carried away with the scenery, to tell the story in the truest way possible, end quote. Kinley adds, it's not a show about a helicopter. That's what everybody thinks when they think of Saigon, end quote. To which Driver exclaimed, chuckling, it's something like 53 seconds of the whole thing, this sodding helicopter. Which is true. It's true. It's literally on stage for 53 seconds. But that's the thing you think of. You think Miss Saigon, helicopter.
Yeah.
Right? So, that ends my little rant on Miss Saigon. Thankfully, my next one is very, very, very short because I couldn't find any information on it. So, I said Les Mis solely because of the barricade. But there's nothing I could find on literally any sets at all. And it's so frustrating because it is so iconic.
That was me with my number one as well. I can't find, anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Les Mis is one of the most well-known Broadway shows, besides probably some of the Disney shows because they're Disney, you know?
Yeah.
So, not being able to find any information about the set design process and about the inspiration for the design just is so frustrating because it is so beautiful.
It really is.
And it's so symbolic,
and it's so
too.
hard to, produce for, a regional show.
Mm-hmm. It's technically a difficult design. It's thematically so powerful.
Yeah.
Right? That's where, spoilers if you haven't seen Les Mis in the past, 40 years. It's where Eponine dies. It's where Gavroche dies. It's where 99% of the ABC... What are they called? ABC...
Oh, the ABC... Oh.
Cafe. The ABC Cafe.
Yeah.
It's where 90% of them die. They're children. Well, kind of. But they're supposed to be 17, 18, 19. Gavroche is a child. Gavroche is 10.
They're supposed to be college kids.
Okay.
Yeah, they're supposed to be college kids.
Still kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our age.
But yeah, college age kids. Imagine. I don't know. That's it. There's not much left to say because there isn't much to talk about, so.
I love how you put Les Mis and Miss Saigon against each other because weren't they written by the same people?
Were they?
The book or whatever? I think
Were
so.
they? I have no idea. I think they both have I think they both evoke they're both about
yeah, they were
concepts.
both written by Schonberg. Both of they were both written by the same writers.
Oh, I didn't even do that on purpose. I just did it more because I think they both have really large set pieces, and they both are like developed around like a concept, right? Like Miss Saigon, a lot of the set is like built off of this concept of this Vietnamese shanty town. And then later on, when you're seeing like the engineer's fantasy and like the American dream, and like we're seeing sorry, I had chili in my throat. And we're seeing like Kim and the engineer in Bangkok, it's like the same set, but they like modified it. Like they put this layer over it of like neon to make it seem like it's something different, but it's really not. And to me, I think that's really symbolic, right? It's the same frame, but one is posed as, right, like the Vietnamese part of it is like this really sad, desolate place. And that's where Kim and Chris fall in love, in the place where it's sad and desolate. And in the place that's flashy and bright and exciting, right? Kim feels more alone than she's ever felt. Right? It's kind of like a I don't know. I've had a lot of time to think about Miss Saigon. I did a report on it like 2 years ago for a theater class. And ever since then, I've just loved the show. Just for the music, for the design, it's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I have to choose it. I have to.
I was going to say, I think we have to choose it for the helicopter alone.
Yeah, I mean, the barricade is very impressive.
Yeah.
But a helicopter and a whole car that gets vomited out by the Statue of Liberty head. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done with my little rant now. Go ahead.
So, just like you with Les Mis, I could not find anything about this first set piece I'm going to talk about, being the chandelier in the Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
There's nothing about it, but it is like such a pivotal moment in the show. It is a moving set piece that glides over the audience, not even just like on stage, over the entire audience of the theater, and crashes down to create the dramatic climax that is the Phantom of the Opera. I think that's like one of the first things people think of besides the mask is the chandelier.
I agree.
That or the boat.
I've never seen the show. I've never listened to it. The one thing I know about it is the chandelier.
Yeah. Phantom's good. And then my next one, I kind of chose both because they give me like Halloween vibes to pen against each other, and it is Beetlejuice. So I got a lot of information about Beetlejuice. It was designed by set designer David Corrins, and he designed it to be a warped interior of a Connecticut home, nods to Mr. Burton's own recognizable funhouse mirror aesthetic, and like the allergy to the right angles kind of thing, like where's all the slants and all the weird shapes and angles and Tim Burton feeling. And the place,
I was going to say, it feels
secrets.
very Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, it does. And, you know, it has to have, like, all of these, like, different, like the door that they draw. Like, it has all these hidden secrets in the set that appear during the show. And then the centerpiece is the house, being that there's 3 renditions of the set. The original home of the Maitland couple, which Corin describes it as bleached country chic. The design on steroids home of the Dietz family, and the ominous aura that descends when Beetlejuice sets up residence in the house. And then, of course, the other sets are the Beetlejuice game show, and the graveyard, and the netherworld. After all, it is about ghosts and ghouls.
Yeah, I mean, and I also think you can't discount the fact of, like, those sandworms are freaking huge.
Oh, yeah, they're giants.
The sandworms are enormous. They're probably 10 feet tall.
And the Beetlejuice puppet that pops up, like, when he
that
takes
thing's
over the
huge.
house. Yeah, oh, what's the actress's name? Barbara. The girl who plays
Carrie
Barbara
Butler.
right now. Yeah. She posted a picture of her next to the hand the other day, being like, hey, we're back in obsession, and she was like smaller than the hand.
Yeah, that thing's huge.
Yeah.
You know what? I was gonna say I don't even know why I put Beetlejuice in here, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, this one's pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like compared to Phantom, it's like technically a lot more difficult. Although they do have to make a boat move on Phantom.
Yeah.
There is a boat.
Yeah,
and it looks like it's floating.
Yeah.
In a sea of fog. It's pretty dope. Okay.
It is.
I don't know if I could choose on this one. This one's like really, these are both like really hard.
I know.
I don't know.
That's kind of why I pinned them two together, because, you know, the Halloween vibes, all the, like, spookiness that is Phantom and Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I don't know. I think just... I think you were about to say Beetlejuice and I was about to say Phantom.
I don't know. I think Phantom is, like, very technical, especially with the chandelier flying across the audience onto the stage.
Have you ever seen it going back up after?
No.
Oh my gosh, there's like a behind the scenes video of it going back up, and it is like I love it. It's so funny. I'll see if I can find the link to it, and I'll link it down below if I can find it. But like, it's just so, I love it. I think it's hilarious. I think knowing like the concepts of the design for Beetlejuice makes me vote for it just a little bit more than I do for Phantom, just because we know more about it, and like there's more information.
Yeah, Phantom
about, like,
is so secretive about the chandelier and the boat.
It really is.
It's secretive about everything. Like, I only found 3 bullet points worth of information about the mask.
Yeah.
The mask.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a reason Phantom was one of the longest running shows on Broadway.
And still is.
It still is. Next to, like, Lion King and Wicked.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Your call. I'm, like, so divided on this one.
I am too.
Should we flip a coin?
Or should I text Kara?
We need lifeline from Kara. Call her.
Hey, we need your help.
Oh, God.
So we're on iconic sets, and we're pinning against the Phantom of the Opera chandelier and the Tim Burton design of the Beetlejuice set, and we're having trouble deciding. Can you be our
tiebreaker?
I think we both know what I'm going to decide.
Say it for the people, Kara.
Say it for the people, Kara.
Beetlejuice.
Kara says Beetlejuice. Okay, Beetlejuice.
Kara says Beetlejuice. Thank you, Kara.
Not that Phantom is not iconic. Not saying it isn't iconic, but it is. I think that Beetlejuice is also, you know, it's inspired by the movie. Therefore, it has lasted longer.
Yeah.
So there's that. Plus, it's recognizable immediately. So there you go.
And we also talked about like the sandworm puppet and all that stuff that's tied in with
Sandy,
the set.
our Lord and Savior?
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, bye. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kara.
Hello, my future editing self.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Well, there we go. Thanks for that tiebreaker, Kara. Beetlejuice is moving on to the next round. Okay, so my next two. I have Kinky Boots versus The Secret Garden. So, The Secret Garden is not a very well-known show, and it hurts my heart because the music is beautiful.
So good.
So good. The quartet, oh, it hits me in like the spot where my brain just feels so good. It's so good. It's just like it scratches your brain in just the right place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so good. So, okay. for Kinky Boots, at least. Let's start there, because that's my number 3. I have Kinky Boots. I said the whole thing. But according to the designer, I don't know why I didn't put any of their first names in here. But anyway,
David Rockwell.
Designer Rockwell. That's the last name. I don't know.
No, Dave. It says David in the link.
Oh, yeah, David Rockwell. Okay, we found it. Thanks. So, designer David Rockwell explained that devising 15 locations, 15, from a single set proved challenging. However, quote, it gave us a chance to create surprises. Pieces of the factory come to life, things pivot and move. When we go to the Fisticuffs pub, our platform splits into 2. We lower a sign and deploy the boxing ring's ropes, which, honestly, I love in that scene that they use one of the drag queen's legs as, like, the thing that holds the ropes up. I'm like, that's genius.
Yeah.
Incorporating the cast into the set, I think, is really cool.
I do, too. I know
also,
you have another one that kind of includes the cast with the set later on.
Yeah.
Too.
But I think Kinky Boots is just a show. First of all, everybody has to see. It is gorgeous. The show is beautiful. The set design is beautiful. The costume design is beautiful. The songs are gorgeous. It's a great story. Great show. 10 out of 10. One of my faves. Okay. Talking about Secret Garden, I'm talking about the original one from the 90s. So the sets for Secret Garden, they have these ginormous, literally probably 20 feet tall, these animal statues. They're huge. And these leaves and like plants all over like the proscenium arch.
Yeah.
And they build a whole freaking garden. It's just gorgeous. Based on Frances Hodgson Burnett's novel, The Secret Garden opened on Broadway at the St. James Theater on April 25th, 1991. The production played 23 previews and 709 performances before closing on January 3rd, 1993. The show would garner 7 Tony Awards, winning 3, including Best Featured Actress in a Musical for Daisy Egan's performance as Mary Lennox. But that's really all I could find. It's really hard to find, again, finding set information. So that's what I found.
I found a lot for mine, surprisingly.
Yeah, but yours are all relatively new except for Phantom.
True.
So,
Mine are very new except for Phantom.
Yeah. So, anyway, there's that. Now, as much as I love Secret Garden,
I think it has to be Kinky Boots.
I think it has to be Kinky Boots too. I think
there's this one company that sells bags made out of the curtains.
Yes.
From the original production.
Yeah.
I think they're called Scenic Bags.
I think they also sell like a little pendant that has pieces of Glinda's original bubble dress in it.
I think so too.
Or I actually think it's scraps of the fabric from like the costume design. I don't think it's the actual scraps of the dress.
Yeah.
That would be a shame. But it's really cool. But yeah, I think Kinky Boots has to move on. I think just Secret Garden isn't as well known and it's not as iconic as sad as that is.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Oh. So the next one is Wicked, and set designer Eugene Lee opted to create an environment inspired by the inner workings of a clock. The shapes, textures, colors, and functional aspects of clock gears and mechanisms contributed to a permanent environmental structure, which defines the stage space. And this is a quote from him. And then there was the clock of the time dragon featured in the novel. I had always wanted the dragon over the arch because it was clock-like and kind of mechanical. And Eugene Lee won the Tony Award for Best Set Design for Wicked. And also, Wicked has made it in, like, the set for Wicked has made it into some TV shows like Glee.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a pretty iconic set.
Yeah.
And then my other one is Moulin Rouge. And the set designer, Derek McLean, took inspiration from the Baz Luhrmann film, from the colors to the elephant to everything in between. and he stated that he tried paying homage to a few favorite visuals from the movie, at the same time make this production feel surprising and new. And there are two major color palettes in the set. Various reds, and there are many reds, and golds of the club, including Satine's apartment, and the grays of the Montmartre. And they are deliberately in stark contrast to one another.
I think
also,
Wicked.
I think Wicked too. Also,
Sorry, go ahead.
Satine, the fact that, like,
Her name
Ewan
is Satine.
McGregor played whatever the guy's name is in the movie, and her name is Satine. And then they decided to make Clone Wars Satine a thing, and they didn't even know that Ian McGregor had a character, like, had a love interest already named Satine. They did that completely on accident. Like, Dave Filoni has come out and said that.
Yeah. I mean,
But
it's a good name.
it is.
Ewan McGregor has good choice. His characters have good choices.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Wicked has to go on.
Yeah, I think Wicked.
So what are your last two?
Okay, my last two are both very, like, ensemble heavy shows, which I think is very appropriate. So the first one I have is Matilda, which, if you've ever seen pictures of the set of Matilda, the proscenium arch and most of, like, the legs, like, it doesn't even have, like, fabric legs. It has, like static legs in the wings. Legs are the little curtains that actors hide behind.
Yeah.
Fun fact for those of you who aren't aware. But the proscenium arch, which is, like, the thing that's, like, the wall where all the stuff hides behind, and, like, there's, like, the little bit that comes out. Okay, anyway, you know what I mean. The big arch in the theater. So it's covered with what is essentially giant wooden Scrabble tiles. And first of all, I think just the time and I just think that the time and effort it must have taken to cut out all of these squares. I mean, some are really small, some are big, but there's a lot of really small ones.
Yeah.
So, the designer Howell, last name Howell, played that, quote, board very well, as in, like, making the whole thing look like a Scrabble board. And this is why he won a Tony Award for his wildly inventive and original sets for Matilda, the story of an intelligent young girl puzzling her way through a world of parental abuse and magisterial? Is that word?
Where?
Google.
Yeah, magisterial.
Cool.
Injustice.
Magisterial injustice. It was very liberating. Quote, sorry, Howell says, it was very liberating. Everything opened up. With his eureka moment regarding these tiles. Because originally they wanted books, but the books didn't really translate very well.
Okay.
Like, it didn't really work. He was like, it looks too messy and muddy because they're small. There's, like, not much you can do with books. But with these tiles, he was able to break up the world physically and build walls and doors, and it made the set like a puzzle that anybody could do.
Yeah.
So furthermore, he adds that Roald Dahl, who wrote the novel, which the musical is based, was, quote, constantly scratching away at the common ground that adults and children share. And in a literal way, if I have a Scrabble tile in my hand and it's the letter A, it has the same possibilities for me as an adult as it does a 6-year-old child. So it's about possibilities and growth and the feeling of childhood. And I think that was captured really well through the use of these tiles. Also through those giant swings that just drop from the ceiling.
I know.
That also swing in front of the audience, like right over the audience. They just go, wee! Like, that's pretty cool too.
Yeah. Have you been on I Used to Be Matilda talk recently?
Yes! What was up with that?
I don't know.
I was like, what the heck? Where did all this come from? Okay. Now, my last one is Newsies. And I said not because it has anything like amazing or spectacular, and it's more because of the few set pieces that they do have work so well with the show thematically and are so versatile.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, it's a 4-story steel cage with 20 dancers, 20 male adult dancers doing like flips and jumping and dancing like hard on these things, and they're fine. No problem. Like, there's literally one scene where like 5 people at once jump off a set of stairs onto the next platform.
Yeah.
And the whole structure stays. Like, that's like very impressive.
It really is.
Like,
because I've
I
seen a community theater production of it, and like the steel cages that they tried to use to emulate, like, shook.
Yeah.
While the actors got on and off.
Yeah. That's horrifying.
That was also a very scary production of Newsies I saw for me, because they kept on coming in the audience, and I was sitting front row. So then, like, I'd have these, like, boys screaming Santa Fe, or, like, seize the day at me, like, that close to me.
Like, within 3 feet. Like, not even 3 feet. Like, 2 feet.
Yeah, it was never again.
Yeah. So, I think I kind of ran out of ideas, so I just kind of had to throw Newsies in there just because, you know, I think it's really impressive.
I kind of stole these last 2 from you.
Yeah, you really did. I was pretty upset. But I think I'm gonna go with Matilda just because it's much more creative and really interesting, and it's very complex. Also, I read this thing that at the beginning of the show that the designers like to either, I can't remember if they painted it or if they projected the word fart onto the tiles. And it's like a see if you can find it, and like kids point it out and start laughing instantly. It's very funny. They said it's like a moment to bring parents and children together. I was like, that's pretty smart, but it was pretty interesting. I think it was fart. But it was pretty funny. But I'm going to say Matilda.
Okay. So my last 2, I kind of chose like 2. Gaby's mad at me.
Yeah, you stole mine. I was going to do these 2 too.
Well, you should have done the notes first.
Okay, you know what? I've been really busy. I just got a new job, okay?
So these next 2 are, I don't want to say minimalist sets, but like stationary sets that they'll bring on a few pieces to kind of make a new scene, if that makes sense. The first one is Hamilton, and set designer David Corrins realized that given the vast number of words in the Hamilton score, there wouldn't be enough time for scene changes as the 30-year epic unfolds over multiple locations. And he recalls that he went to some of the actual places, like Hamilton's house in New York, and looked at others, like Washington's tent, and books, and on the internet. And he hung pictures on his wall, and after a lot of sketching and a lot of conversation, he came up with a theatrical metaphor. And this theatrical metaphor was that the Hamilton set is reminiscent of a ship or a construction site, as it serves as a launching pad for the people who built the framework of our country.
Which is true.
The double turntables are amazing.
It's pretty impressive. But I think Hadestown ones up the double turns tiles.
I do too, and that's my next one.
Turntables.
Yeah.
It levels it up. Literally.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So,
I'll let you go.
My next one is Hadestown, as Gaby kind of already mentioned. And at first glance, you will see a dilapidated, right?
Dilapidated, yeah.
Okay. At first glance, you see a dilapidated yet romanticized jazz club with wood floors caked in beer and plaster walls logged with water. Look again and you'll notice the rot is simultaneously in the industrial underworld. The bar's blue-green walls create a decay, blink, and suddenly they become the sky for Orpheus and Eurydice's poetic outdoor summer scenes. But the duplicity intentionally hides in plain sight. Rachel said to me It should feel like the bar is a cog in the giant machine that is Hadestown. Set designer Hawk describes. And when the bar cleaves to expose the depths of hell, the true mechanism of the cog is revealed. And these bar tops don't move very far, but it feels like somebody's ripping your chest out when it happens because it's so emotional to see it split, says Hawk. The simple design echoes the romanticism, conflict, desire, and loss all wrapped up in Hadestown. In the end, the whole world reassembles. It's the circular nature. You're right back where you started as soon as it ended, which is kind of where we get the double turntables like Gaby was talking about.
Yeah. Plus, if you've ever seen videos of it, they move up and down into the floor.
I know. It's wild.
Yeah. It's in, oh gosh, what's that song? Chant, I think?
Yeah, Chant.
It's in Chant, where, right, the workers are on the bottom, are in the outside wheel, and they're walking around it in one direction, and Hades and Persephone are in the center, and it's turning on its own. They're just standing there. But the workers are walking around the outside wheel, and as they're walking, it sinks into the floor, and Hades and Persephone rise up, and it's this, like, power dynamic, and it is, like, so cool! Because it's literally, you're seeing Hades and Persephone looking down on the workers.
Yeah.
Who are literally sinking further and further into the floor. Which, like, symbolizing their loss of their humanity and the loss of their individuality. And making them more and more like objects and part of the world of Hadestown.
Yeah.
You can tell which one I want to win, right?
Yeah, Hades.
It's just so cool. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, we're going with Hadestown.
Yeah, we're going with Hadestown.
Yay! Okay. Miss Saigon versus Kinky Boots. Miss Saigon.
Miss Saigon.
Okay. Beetlejuice versus Wicked. Wicked.
Wicked.
Matilda versus Hadestown.
Hadestown.
Yeah. Okay. Miss Saigon, Wicked, or Hadestown. Oh my gosh, this one's hell. I think Miss Saigon.
I think Miss Saigon too, because of the helicopter.
The helicopter, the car, the Ho Chi Minh face, the Lady Liberty face.
Yeah.
All of that. The symbolic.
Yeah.
But I think the order is Miss Saigon, Hadestown, Wicked.
Yeah.
But yes, Miss Saigon wins. Okay, there we go. Miss Saigon has won our sets bracket. Most iconic, what's it called? Set. Most iconic set. So, moving on. We have iconic actors or actresses.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I can go first.
Go for it.
So my first one is Brittany Johnson. She is the first and only black woman to have played Eponine and Fantine in Les Miserables on Broadway. On February 14th, 2015, she made Broadway history in Les Mis, as she is the only woman to ever play both Fantine and Eponine on the same day. At the time, Brittany was a standby in Les Mis, and she was a standby for both Fantine and Eponine, and during the matinee, she was called in for Eponine, and at the evening performance, she was called in for Fantine. And both are very vocally and emotionally difficult roles to play, and she played them both on the same day, and she's the only woman to have done it. And then in 2018, she became the first black woman to play Glinda in Wicked as a standby. And then 7 years later, on February 14th, 2022, she made Broadway history again as the first black woman to play Glinda full-time in Wicked on Broadway. Just
Which is
amazing.
all very impressive.
Yeah. I think she's winning out of these two. I really like this next one.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Yeah. So my next one is Joshua Henry. He is best known for portraying Haywood Patterson in Candor and Ebb's 2010 musical, The Scottsboro Boys, for which he received a Tony Award nomination. He portrayed the lead role of Aaron Burr in the first U.S. tour of Hamilton, previously playing the role in the Chicago production that began performances in late September 2016. After Hamilton, Henry played the lead role of Billy Bigelow in the Broadway revival of Carousel, and then went on to do Waitress as Dr. Pomander, and has now been featured in the Netflix Tick Tick Boom movie.
Yeah.
Brittany Johnson.
Absolutely.
Oh, that means that she's probably going to have to go up against... Oh, I have great ones on my list. I kind of forgot who I have.
Okay. My first two. First, I have Renee Rapp.
I love her.
I do too. Because she was Regina George on Broadway. She was also the first, I'm going to call them, she's not even plus size. She's real size.
Yeah.
Like, she looks like a real person. She's not stick thin. She's not, right? She's not like a model. She's like a real person.
Well, yeah,
Which
wasn't she like 17 when, wasn't she in high school still when she got cast?
I think she got cast just after the Jimmy Awards in 2018.
So yeah, she was still in high school.
Yeah. And I think it's really important, especially for a role like Regina, that it's played by somebody real, because everybody has a Regina in their life, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has experienced that at some point or another in their life. And making it somebody who looks like a real person makes it just that much more like connectable. So there's that. Also, I think she can totally belt her face off. Just my opinion.
I agree.
So then I'm putting her up against Carrie Hope Fletcher, who is from West End. She's not Broadway. She's more West End than Broadway, but I feel like it still counts.
So you don't have one of the roles that she portrayed, and that was over in the U.S.
Which one?
Wednesday Addams.
Oh, I don't. Okay, she was Wednesday Addams in some revival, right?
In the U.S. tour.
So, Carrie Hope Fletcher made her West End debut as young Eponine in Les Mis at the age of 9 in 2001. In 2002, she was part of the original cast of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in the role of Jemima Potts. And in 2004, she played Jane Banks in Mary Poppins. She returned to Les Mis to play Eponine for the musical's 30th anniversary gala performance on the 8th of October of 2015. She played her final performance on the 13th of February of 2016, at which time she was the longest-running Eponine in the London production's 30-year history. She's now starring as the title role of Andrew Lloyd Webber's newest musical, Cinderella, which began previews on the 25th of June 2021 at the Gillian Lynn Theatre in London with an opening of the 14th of July. She was also she was the first Veronica in Heathers on the West End, right?
Yeah.
She's also in the cast recording.
Yeah.
Also, another real-sized lady.
Yeah, and I remember when she got cast as Veronica.
Mm-hmm.
There was controversy around that.
I know. I was thrilled.
I was too.
So, anyway, there's that.
Yeah.
I think...
Carrie.
I was going to say, I think Renee Rapp on a technicality.
On a technicality?
Yeah, Carrie Fletcher was never on Broadway.
True.
So I think that's the technicality. As awesome and as amazing as she was never on Broadway.
True.
So I think we have to go with Renee Rapp. Plus, yeah. I mean, getting a pretty major role in a huge musical at 17.
Yeah, it was her and
Andrew Barth Feldman.
Why did his name disappear from my brain?
I knew who you were talking about. Linguini.
Yeah.
He will forever be Linguini in my head.
Yeah,
now.
like he and her both won the Jimmy Award the same year, right?
Mm-hmm. Or like he won it 1 or 2 years before she did, or vice versa.
I think she won it before him if they didn't
By
win it
1
the
or
same
2
year.
years.
Yeah. And I mean, he got, like, a casting director called him and was like, can you audition for Evan Hansen?
Mm-hmm.
And he played Dear Evan Hansen, a high school senior.
Yeah.
As a high school senior.
I mean, same thing with Renee. She was playing a high school senior she was playing a senior? Senior.
Senior?
As a senior. Yeah. No, she's a junior, actually.
Yeah, she's a junior.
She says, what did she say? I'm worshipped at this school and I'm only a junior. Oh, wait, no, that's Heather's. I'm getting them all confused now. She is a senior.
Is she? Okay.
She is. I'm getting Heather's confused because there's a line that Heather Chandler says in the Heather's movie where she says, I'm worshipped at Westerberg and I'm only a junior.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting confused about. No, Regina is a senior. Okay.
Okay.
Your turn. I need to stop talking.
So, my next one is Mistress Bernadette Peters. And Gabby's mad at me again. So her career has spanned over more than 6 decades, and she has starred in musical theater, television, and film, performed in solo concerts, and released recordings. She is a critically acclaimed Broadway performer, having received 7 nominations for Tonys, winning 2 plus an honorary award, and 9 nominations for Drama Desk Awards, winning 3, and she's been on 4 of the Broadway cast albums that she's been on have won Grammys. And she is regarded by many as the foremost interpreter of the works of Stephen Sondheim. Bernadette Peters is particularly noted for her roles on the Broadway stage, including the musicals Into the Woods, 1987, where she was the witch, Annie Get Your Gun in 1999, where she was Annie Oakley, Gypsy in 2003, where she was Mama Rose, A Little Night Music in 2010, Follies in 2011, and Hello Dolly in 2018. And I'm pinning her against legendary Andre DeShields.
I don't think it's fair. I don't think this is fair at all.
Why?
Because it's not fair. It's Bernadette, 100%. Not fair. Not fair. You didn't even give Andre a chance.
Do you want me to change him with my number 5?
I think it would be more fair pitting. I feel like putting Audra and Bernadette together is a lot more fair.
Well, no, she's my number 6, Audra.
Yeah, putting Audra and Bernadette and Andre and Lynn together, I think, are much more fair. Because, Audra and Bernadette are, powerhouse women.
Okay.
Right? They're,
character when I
women
said
of Broadway.
Andre. And then my next one is Audra McDonald, and she's primarily known for her work on the Broadway stage, and she has won 6 Tony Awards, more performance wins than any other actor, and is the only person to win all 4 acting categories, being Best Female, Best Actress in a Leading Role in a Play, in a Supporting Role in a Play, Supporting Role in a Musical, and Leading Role in a Musical. And she has performed in musicals, operas, and dramas such as A Moon for the Misbegotten, 110 in the Shade, Carousel, Ragtime, Masterclass, and Porgy and Bess.
I love her in Ragtime.
Yeah, she's great.
I love Ragtime.
She's in the Beauty and the Beast live action movie with Emma Watson.
I believe so.
So, hold on. Audra.
She also in the 2017 revival recording of Miss Saigon, she also is the commentator at the beginning of the show and explains the history of the entire show of Miss Saigon, and it makes me so happy because her voice is just like butter. Her voice is like silk, just like talking.
So Audra McDonald plays the wardrobe.
Ah, yes.
In the live action Beauty and the Beast. And I'm pretty sure she was in, and I know you hate this musical, but in 1999, she was Grace Farrell in the Annie 1999 Disney television movie.
1999?
Yeah.
I thought that was the one with... Oh, no, that was the 80s.
Yeah, the 80s was the one that you're thinking of. She was...
The one with Bette Midler. No, not Bette Midler. Is it Bette... No, who is it? It's
maybe.
Not Bette Midler. It's Carol Burnett. That's who it is. It's Carol Burnett.
Yeah, but you know Bernadette Peters.
Bernadette Peters.
That 1982 movie with as Lily St. Regis.
Uh-huh. And it's Tim Curry, Carol Burnett, and Bernadette Peters.
Yeah, whereas I forget who plays Hannigan in the 1999.
That one is Bernadette Peters. I think.
No.
So
the 1999 one is Kathy Bates as Miss Hannigan.
Not Bernadette Peters. I meant
Kristen Chenoweth as Lily St. Regis. And then, what's his name? Alan Cumming as Rooster.
I don't remember that at all.
It's on Disney Plus. I like it better than the 82 movie.
I like the one with the 80s.
But yeah. So.
Okay. I think Bernadette.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I saw her in an episode of Grey's Anatomy and I went, "Oh my god, that's Bernadette Peters." Like,
and I mean, she was in that she was in Sunday in Tick Tick Boom, which was just like Broadway legends.
Yeah. I mean, Audra was in it too.
And so was Andre DeShields.
So was Andre and
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
And a bunch of other people, but
4 of my 6 people were in that song.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say Bernadette.
Okay.
I think Bernadette. What do you think?
Okay. I think so. As much as I love Audra.
I do love Audra. Her voice is butter. But Bernadette, like, you hear her and you're like, "Oh, that's Bernadette." Same with Patti LuPone. It's the same thing. You hear her and you're like,
"Oh, I had
Patty."
to do one of those powerhouses like Patti or Bernadette on my list.
Yeah. Okay, my next one. I have Marin Mazzie, who I love, who sadly passed away. Ugh, so sad. But Marin Mazzie, who played Mother in Ragtime, she played Margaret in the 2012 production of Carrie, well, the rewrite of Carrie. Mazzie was a 3-time Tony Award nominee for her performances as Clara in Passion, Mother in Ragtime, and Lily Vanessa / Catherine in Kiss Me Kate in 2000. For her work in Kiss Me Kate, Mazzie was also nominated for a Drama Desk Award, an Oliver Award, and she won an Outer Critics Circle Award. She replaced Alice. Huh?
I'm pretty sure they call it Olivier. Whenever I hear British people talk about it, they're always like, "It's the Olivier Awards."
Oh, okay. She also replaced Alice Ripley as Diana in Next to Normal on July 19th in 2010, opposite her real-life husband.
That's so cute!
Jason Danely as Dan, and they stayed with the show until the Broadway production closed on January 16th of 2011. Isn't that so cute?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love her. Plus her voice, so good. Like, she can be so sweet, but also so terrifying.
Yeah.
So, I love that. Okay, so I'm going to pin her against Ramin, I can always say his name wrong, Ramin Karimloo.
Yeah.
And he made his West End debut in Les Mis, where he played...
Huey.
Which one is he?
He's one of the many, like, ABC kids.
Okay, he played Fewley, and he also understudied the roles of Marius and Enjolras. In June of 2005, Karimloo joined the UK national tour of Miss Saigon, playing the role of Chris.
Yes.
He also appeared in the West End production of The Phantom of the Opera as The Phantom in 2007. And then on September 22nd of 2016, it was announced that Caramely would return to Broadway in the stage musical adaptation of the film Anastasia as General Gleb Van Gogh, and the show began previews of March 23rd of 2017 and opened up April 24th of 17 at Broadway's Broadhurst Theater, and his final performance in Anastasia was on December 3rd of 2017. So, honestly, the main reason I put him in is because of his work as Phantom. Like, he's so well known as the Phantom.
I think I have to say him.
No. Really?
I think so.
I thought Marin had this one in the bag.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, give me your explanation. I'm curious. Why him?
I don't know, like, so when I was in high school, in high school, we'll go with that. When he was really starting to, like, be big with Anastasia and all that stuff, like, I don't know, like, that's when I first got wind of him. Also, you didn't mention this, but he's also played, I think, Valjean in Les Mis? Hold on.
He did. I just didn't mention it. It was a lot.
Yeah, he was, he's been, what? Hold on. I'm gonna
He's been, like, 9 characters in Les Mis.
So he's been both the Phantom and Raoul, and, in Phantom of the Opera. Jean Valjean, Angelos, Marius in, Les Miserables, and then reprised Phantom in Andrew Lloyd Webber's Love Never Dies, which is the sequel to Phantom of the Opera. He was Gleb. I'm reading off of his Wikipedia right now.
Don't
he's
take
known...
this away.
What?
I wanted Marin to win so bad. But the more you talk about it, the more I'm like, shoot.
He was
also, Marin Mazzie died when she was, like, in her 50s. I think she died far too early.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say is he's known for being in the 25th anniversary performance at the Royal Albert Hall for the Phantom of the Opera, opposite Sierra Boggess.
Fine. I'm not crying.
Oh, Gaby, why did you put these two together? It's gonna be so hard.
I had to. Fine. Okay. Your last two.
So, my last two are Andre de Shields and Lin-Manuel Miranda. Andre de Shields originated the role of The Wiz in The Wiz on Broadway in 1975.
He is The Wiz.
What?
He literally is The Wiz.
Yeah, in The Wiz.
Yeah.
He originated the role of Hermes on Broadway in the musical Hadestown, winning the 2019 Tony Award for Best Actor in a Featured Role in a Musical, and the 2020 Grammy for Best Musical Theater Album for his performance. He has also appeared on television and won a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Individual Achievement for his performance in the 1982 NBC broadcast of Ain't Misbehavin'. So he has gotten a Grammy, Tony, and Emmy. So all he's missing is that Oscar, and he got the EGOT in the bag.
So he's gotten... He's
Yes.
gotten egged.
Yeah. Just like
E-G-T.
Just like Lin-Manuel Miranda, who maybe
he did get an EGOT.
No, not yet.
Oh, he's like, he's gonna get it.
He's gonna get it in this upcoming Oscar season.
Yeah, he's gonna get it.
So he's pretty much gotten it. But Lin-Manuel Miranda is known for creating the Broadway musicals In the Height and Hamilton, and the soundtrack of 2 Disney movies, Encanto and Moana. And his accolades include 3 Tony Awards, 3 Grammy Awards, 2 Laurence Olivier Awards, 2 Primetime Emmy Awards, a MacArthur Fellowship Award, a Kennedy Center Honor, and a Pulitzer Prize. Now I have to read this giant paragraph. Miranda gained a wider recognition for his writing the script, music, and lyrics for Hamilton, which has been acclaimed as a pop culture phenomenon since its 2015 Broadway premiere. It earned the Pulitzer Prize for Drama and was nominated for a record 16 Tony Awards and won 10, including Miranda's first win for Best Book of a Musical.
Let's be honest.
What?
Sorry. Let's be honest. Hamilton swept the 2015 Tonys.
Yeah.
Hamilton took the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you were in a category against Hamilton, you were done. Like, you knew it.
Well, wasn't there one category, and it was one of the, like, so, like, 2 of the 16 were both for Best Leading Actor in a Musical, and it was Lin-Manuel Miranda and Leslie Odom Jr. against each other for the Tony.
Yeah. Which, didn't Leslie Odom Jr. win? Yeah.
He deserved
for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Just
the Hamilton cast recording spent 2 weeks atop Broadway. Or the Hamilton cast recording album.
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, Kara. Sorry,
Kara. The Hamilton cast recording spent 10 weeks atop Billboard's top rap albums chart and became the 11th biggest album of the 2010s. The Hamilton mixtape, a cover album by Miranda, further reached number 1 on the Billboard 200.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah.
I think Lin-Manuel Miranda, I mean, everyone knows who he is. Yeah. Everyone.
Yeah.
People who don't even like him know who he is.
Yeah.
He's everywhere right now.
He really is.
As much as I hate it, but he is. Okay, Lin-Manuel swept this just like he swept the Tonys. So, my last 2 are impossible. I have Idina Menzel versus Patrick Page.
I've seen both of these performers perform live.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, you know when Idina Menzel did her concert a few years ago, like when Frozen first came out?
Oh, the Frozen thing, yeah.
No, it was like right after Frozen, but for that album, whatever one came out right after Frozen.
Okay. That If Then thing.
Yeah, then I saw her in that concert, and then I saw Patrick Page in probably one of his least acclaimed roles.
We'll talk about it. We'll get there. That's also the part I wanted to talk about Julie Taymor, if you remembered her when we were talking about Lion King. We'll get there. First is Idina Menzel. Number 1, her range, fantastic.
Yes.
She plays Elphaba. She plays Maureen, which earned her a Tony nomination for Best Featured Actress in a Musical.
Yes.
By February 28th, 2013, Menzel was cast to star as Elizabeth in the new Tom Kitt and Brian Yorkey Broadway musical If Then. She also has a humongous film presence. She is Elsa.
Yeah.
She also played Nancy in Enchanted, who is one of her few characters who actually doesn't sing.
Except for rumored in Disenchanted, she mentioned how she's gonna maybe sing.
Maybe. She had a song in the original Enchanted that got cut.
Yeah. We'll see.
They cut
we'll
it because Nancy
comes.
is supposed to be like the one that's grounded in reality, but now that she's been living in Andalasia for so long, who knows?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Anyway, in 2021, Menzel co-starred alongside Camila Cabello, Billy Porter, and James Corden in Kay Cannon's jukebox musical adaptation of the Cinderella fairy tale, playing Cinderella's stepmother, Vivian. Plus, I mean, who can forget that iconic moment with John Travolta and the whole Adele Dazeem thing that happened however many years ago? Nobody will forget it.
No.
Okay, next is my baby, my lover boy, the love of my life, Patrick Page. Never mind, I'm going to refrain from saying what I was going to say.
Thank God.
The love of my life, Mr. Patrick Page. I love him so much.
Girl,
So
help.
I think shut up, leave me alone. I think Patrick Page and Reeve Carney are the ultimate comeback story. Because, okay.
Yeah.
Page's Broadway credits include originating the role of the Grinch in How the Grinch Stole Christmas. He played Scar in The Lion King. He was Lumiere in Beauty and the Beast. He in the national tour. And then at the Old Globe Theater here in San Diego, he played the title role of Cyrano de Bergerac, and he won the Craig Noel San Diego Critics and Pate Awards for Outstanding Leading Actor in a Play, which I am like so sad. I never knew that he ever did stuff here, and I will never see him here unless he's on the tour of Hadestown, which I also wouldn't be able to see because it's when I'm on my vacation. Also, Rent is coming when I'm on vacation too, and I'm very sad. Anyway, moving on. He originated and created the dual role of Norman Osborn and his alter ego Green Goblin in the Julie Taymor Broadway rock musical featuring
Julie Taymor directed that musical?
She did the design. The Julie Taymor Broadway rock musical featuring music by U2, Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, which played at the Foxwoods Theater until January of 2014, premiering in June of 2011. It featured music and lyrics by Bono and The Edge, but mostly by U2. Page's performance received positive reviews and was quoted as being one of the main reasons to see the show.
Yes, I agree.
For his performance.
As someone that saw the show, yes.
For his
not the
performance.
20 million Spider-Man that they had in the ensemble.
Yeah. For his performance, he received a nomination for the Drama Desk Award for Outstanding Featured Actor in a Musical. He also originated the role of Frollo in the U.S. premiere of The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He also played Hades in the production of Hadestown at the New York Theater Workshop, at the Citadel Theater in Edmonton, at Royal... Sorry, try that again. Kara, take it back. He also was at London's Royal National Theatre. He also reprised the role on Broadway at the Walter Kerr Theatre beginning in March of 2019, receiving a nomination for the Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a Musical. Also, he is the ultimate silver fox. I just had to sprinkle that in there. Just for my own pleasure.
Yeah.
My cheeks hurt from smiling.
I'm really thinking here.
Honestly, I think just based off experience, I think Patrick Page wins.
I think so too.
Not because I'm in love with him, because of his experience.
But also because you're in love with him.
But also because I'm in love with him. But mostly because it's experience.
Yeah.
But, like, okay. So here's what I mean about this, like, ultimate comeback story. Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark was, like, Broadway's biggest flop since Carrie 1980, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and he and Reeve Carney were Spider-Man and Norman Osborn, who are, like, the two main characters.
Which I got Reeve Carvey's understudy, and I'm still salty about that today. Even
Reeve
though
Carney
that
wasn't that good then.
I know, but I still wish I could have said I could see him.
Yeah. But they also now play Orpheus and Hades in Hadestown, which is like one of Broadway's biggest hits in a long time. And it's also one of the most original musicals you could find on Broadway at the moment that hasn't been there for about 20 years.
Yeah.
That's just me and my thoughts about people making adaptations of things from Broadway. I don't count taking adaptations of, like, mythology. I don't count that. Because, like, they really, like, did this differently. It's not, like, set in Greece. It's not traditional Greek. It's, like, modern retelling of that story.
Yeah.
So I don't count it.
Yeah.
As much as the other ones. The other ones are movies. Did you hear the Back to the Future one that they're making?
I don't want to talk about that. Isn't the original? Oh, who's playing Doc?
Who is it?
Roger Bart.
That name does sound familiar.
I'm looking. Oh my God.
Who is it?
That's why. So in the 1997 Disney film Hercules, he's the young Hercules.
Oh, he's
voice.
young Hercules.
Yeah.
Yeah. He sings,
Go the Distance.
Yeah.
Oh, and he was also in the 92 touring production of Secret Garden.
That's right.
He was Snoopy in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how they tried doing Hercules on stage?
Was he going to play Hercules?
No, he was going to do Hades.
Ooh. They should have done Patrick Page's Hades.
He's already Hades. It's a little too on the nose.
No, it's perfect.
No, but that's cool that they had the original voice actor for the singing part of Hercules to do Hades.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, we need to get back into this because this episode is going to be so long. We're already at almost 2 hours.
I know. This next one will go quick because we don't have facts.
No, we don't, because they're pretty easy.
Yeah.
So, Renee versus Ramin. Ramin. Sorry, Renee. You're a queen, but Ramin. The experience. Yeah. Okay, Brittany versus Bernadette.
I know we have to say Bernadette, but Brittany.
We don't have to say Bernadette. It's our show. We can decide.
True.
But I think Bernadette.
I know.
I mean, it's Bernadette Peters.
I know. Yeah.
I think one day Brittany Johnson will have the recognition that Bernadette Peters has now, but I think it'll just take a little while.
Yeah, I think it will.
Oh no.
What, it's Paige versus Lin-Manuel Miranda, and Lin-Manuel Miranda's winning?
Yeah.
Wait,
No.
that means it's Ramin, Bernadette, and Lin-Manuel
Miranda.
It's either Bernadette or Lynn.
I think Lynn, because people who don't even know Broadway know him. They like everybody knows him. Everybody. You kind of set us up for failure with this one. Not for failure.
Sorry.
But like you set us up for like it's rigged. It's rigged. Of course he's gonna win. Okay, Lin-Manuel Miranda wins.
Yeah. I want to change the order of these real quick.
That's fine. So the last one we're going to talk about today is some of the most iconic roles from shows on Broadway.
Yeah.
Kick it off, Anne.
Elle Woods from Legally Blonde versus Evan Hansen in Dear Evan Hansen.
Elle Woods, without a doubt. Everybody knows who Elle Woods is. Literally, the other day, I was sitting in class. I had a pink cup. I had my pink bag. I had a pink scrunchie. I was wearing a pink shirt with a pink jacket. And I was using a pink pen. I was like, oh my gosh, I am Elle Woods right now.
God.
I loved it. I was like, I love my life.
What about that law student on TikTok? The one that wears like all pink that is like real life Elle Woods?
I want to be her.
She's amazing.
I want to be her. Okay. Mine, I have the witch from Into the Woods. This order is wrong. I changed the order. I have the witch from Into the Woods versus Hamlet from Hamlet. I think the witch.
I was gonna say Hamlet.
Hamlet's just like a sad emo boy.
True.
He's like Simba, but sad.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Just bullies you into making the choices I want you to make. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But it's true. He's emo boy, but sad. And the witch is like, it's Bernadette Peters. We're back to that.
Oh God.
Okay.
So
Next.
this one is fully Ramen.
Raven Caramelu.
Yeah. Being the Phantom from the Phantom of the Opera and Jean Valjean in Les Miserables. I feel like
I say Valjean too.
Yeah.
The Phantom is iconic, but Valjean is even more iconic.
Yeah, I was just thinking of like Who Am I? Like that song.
Yeah. Who Am I versus like the Phantom of the Opera? Is that like his song? Or would it be like Music of the Night?
Probably be Music of the Night.
But still, I mean, he does have the sing once again with me.
Yeah.
But nah, Phantom of the Opera is more Christine's song.
Yeah.
I mean, it's called the Phantom of the Opera, but it's more Christine's song than it is the Phantom song.
Yeah.
Like, this is the song where Christine gets to show off her, like, massive range.
Yeah.
Okay, I have Elphaba from Wicked versus Lola from Kinky Boots.
Oh. I think Elphaba.
I think so, too.
Because everyone knows Defying Gravity.
Uh-huh. And the green.
And the green.
Although Lola is so classic, too. Lola is fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of classic, I'm going a little classic here. Mama Rose and Gypsy with Rose's Turn. Or Maria von Trapp in Sound of Music with Do Re Mi. My Favorite Things. All those.
I like the Yodel song. I like that one. That one gets stuck in my head all the time.
I hate that song, but it also gets stuck in my head frequently.
I love it. And then I'll just be walking around the house, go da 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 da.
I swear to God, if you get that stuck in my head, you are dying.
She's gonna kill me, you guys. Oh my God. I think Maria.
I think so
I mean,
too.
it's Julie Andrews. And then they just did it again with Carrie Underwood, which was also very good. But,
yeah.
I mean, it was Julie Andrews. You can't. You can't. You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, as fantastic as Rose is Julie Andrews. Julie Andrews always wins. Queen Clarice Rinaldi of Genovia. Okay, I have Juliet from Romeo and Juliet. I did some Shakespeare in here because we haven't talked about Shakespeare at all. Versus, also from Gypsy, Louise.
As much as I love Gypsy, I think Juliet.
I think so too.
You know who I almost put on my list, which would have been funny if we ended up pinning them against each other? Maria.
Who?
West Side Story, Maria.
Oh, versus Maria von Trapp.
No, versus Juliet, if that ended up being.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, Elle versus Valjean.
Valjean.
Yeah. The Witch versus Elphaba. They're both witches. That was the dumbest face. I just made the dumbest face. Oh my gosh.
I know, I saw. Elphaba, right?
I think so.
Like, most people are gonna know. I keep on coming back to this song, but Defying Gravity, most people are gonna know that over Last Midnight. Again, Shrek the musical parodies it. It is famous. It is iconic.
Okay, Maria von Trapp versus Juliet. I think Juliet.
I think Juliet.
Okay.
So
Jean Valjean from Les Mis. Elphaba from Wicked, and Juliet Montague?
Capulet.
Or Capulet. I can't remember which one she is.
She's a
Juliet
Capulet.
Capulet from Romeo and Juliet.
Though Juliet Montague sounds so much better than Juliet Capulet.
Right?
No, but it's, oh, what is the famous Montague monologue? Juliet.
What?
The Romeo, wherefore
art thou Romeo? Yeah.
Thou art thyself, thou not a Montague.
Yeah. Isn't that the one where is the, but what is in a name? A rose by any other name would still smell as sweet. It's the same monologue.
It's the same one.
Which is like, yeah. I also like that in that she's actually not saying, where are you, Romeo? She's saying, why are you?
Yeah.
Why are you
I think it has
a Montague?
I think it has to be Juliet.
I think so too. I mean, think of how many adaptations of Romeo and Juliet there have been.
Again, I just mentioned West Side Story.
Yeah. I mean, okay, there's the original play from the 1400s, right? From Shakespeare time.
Yeah.
And then there's also that movie from like the 60s where the men are in tights and they are too tight.
Is that with the wannabe Zac Efron?
Yes! From the 60s. And then Juliet, like, she wears this nightgown, but it looks like she's about to like spill out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. And then
she has
there's the
that
Baz Luhrmann one with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes. And
Romeo and Juliet.
Yes. There's West Side Story.
There's
the new West Side Story.
New West Side Story. There's Lion King 2, Simba's Pride.
Yeah. There's, let's see, what else is there?
Okay, Juliet wins. Can we get...
Yeah, Juliet wins. There's a lot. Okay, Juliet wins. Wow, I was not expecting that. She was kind of my throwaway.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, that was really interesting. So our final results are, for the best costume, we have Dolly's red dress from Hello Dolly.
Yeah.
Best sets, we have Miss Saigon, the 2017 revival. For best actor or actress, we have Lin-Manuel Miranda. And then for most iconic role, we have Juliet from Romeo and Juliet.
Okay.
I feel like that's pretty good.
I do too.
So, let's get into this fandom news, because I gotta go to bed.
I do too. And we have a lot of fandom news to get through.
Yep, so we're gonna do rapid fire fandom news. No talking, just go.
Mrs. Doubtfire will return to Broadway on April 14th following the show's ongoing hiatus.
Newsies will open in London's West End in 2022. Dates, theater, and casting at a later time.
Refurbishment of Expedition Everest at Disney's Animal Kingdom has been extended through April 30th.
Dungeons and Dragons, the musical, Here There Be Dragons, sets a world premiere. Performances will begin on June 16th at the Players Theater.
The permit has been extended for World Celebration construction at Epcot through at least October 2022.
The Harry Potter, the exhibition, an all-new interactive exhibition with behind-the-scenes looks at the book and movie's beloved wizarding world, has opened at Philadelphia's Franklin Institute.
Disney Genie Plus I'm going to restart that. Disney's Genie Plus is no longer available in advance for one-day tickets at Walt Disney World.
Disney's Winnie the Pooh, the new musical stage adaptation, returns to New York for a 6-week summer engagement.
Spider-Man director John Watts reportedly in talks to helm an untitled new Star Wars series.
A new Star Wars book titled Star Wars: The Princess and the Scoundrel by Beth Revis will be released on August 16th. The novel will be exclusive invitation to the biggest event in a galaxy far, far away, the wedding of Princess Leia and Han Solo.
Meant to Be Yours from Heathers hits Spotify's viral top 50. The track from the West End cast recording has hit Spotify's viral top 50.
Disneyland has announced that the Main Street Electrical Parade, Disneyland Forever, and World of Color will return on April 22nd, 2022. Fantasmic will return to Disneyland on May 28th, 2022.
Springtime is just around the corner, and so is Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival, which starts on March 2nd and will run until July 4th. Menu items have been revealed for the Garden Graze stroll at this festival.
On Thursday, February 24th, the official trailer for The Secrets of Dumbledore was released.
Hamilton co-stars Lin-Manuel Miranda, Leslie Odom Jr., and Daveed Diggs reunited to open the SAG Awards on Sunday, February 27th.
Broadway veterans Sierra Boggess and Chip Zien to star in Barry Manilow musical Harmony, which will tell the true story of the comedian harmonist.
The Lion King is partnering with TDF to bring back its Introduction to Theater program, as well as an autism-friendly performance in March.
The Broadway production of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child will celebrate the Hogwarts houses with 4 special performances dedicated to each house. Ravenclaw Pride Night will be March 23rd, Hufflepuff Pride Night will be March 30th, Slytherin Pride Night will be April 6th, and Gryffindor Pride Night will be celebrated on April 13th.
Frances Maylee McCann, the Weston Heather McNamara, and Jordan Luke Cage, the viral Weston JD and Heathers, are set to lead the West End production of Bonnie and Clyde.
The Disney California Adventure Food and Wine Festival will be running from March 4th through April 26th. Feast your eyes and stomach upon the menu, which can be found on the Disney Parks website. You can purchase a Sip and Savor Pass, which allows you to try up to 8 different foods and non-alcoholic beverage items at a participating location.
So we got a lot of news in the past week about the Percy Jackson Disney Plus series from author Rick Riordan. Production will start on June 1st, and they have started in-person chemistry read auditions for Percy Jackson, Annabeth Chase, and Grover Underwood. However, no decisions have been finalized yet. Riordan also explored the production offices where prep work for the show has begun. He met costume designer Tish Monaghan, who is brainstorming costume ideas, and production designer Dan Hanna, whose team is busy creating the visual world in which Percy will travel in, including Mount Olympus, the underworld, Auntie M's, Sally Jackson's apartment, and many more.
Calling all child actors, the Telsey office is holding open video call auditions for kids 8 to 12 for Mrs. Doubtfire on Broadway.
On the Galactic Star Cruiser, the Halcyon Star Cruiser, the new Disney hotel, there is going to be an exclusive lightsaber available at the boutique, just located right off the atrium, and you can customize it with a letter icon of your choosing written in Arabic, and it costs $170.
As of February 23rd, Disneyland Resort parking trams return to take guests from parking structures to downtown Disney, Disneyland, and Disney's California Adventure.
Disney Cruise Line's new Lighthouse Point, which is their new island that they're creating, construction will finally begin in the Bahamas on March 2nd. The $400 million project was officially announced at the D23 Expo in 2019, and Disney has now acquired all necessary permits and government approval.
Starting February 28th, visitors to Disneyland's Avengers Campus will find a plaque located to the left as they enter, honoring Lee and his contributions to the legacy that stretch well beyond the pages of comic books.
The Walt Disney Company welcomes new Executive VP, Chief Digital and Technology Officer for Disney Parks Experiences and Products, and his name is Gail Evans.
Disney Plus roll out new parental controls ahead of upcoming Marvel shows.
The off-Broadway musical Kimberly Akimbo is transferring to Broadway in fall of 2022, led by Victoria Clark and Bonnie Milligan.
Joy Woods, currently Chiffon in the off-Broadway production of Little Shop, is to take over the role of Catherine Parr in Six on Broadway. Anna Uzili plays her final performance on March 13th.
Speaking of the musical Six, it will launch a second tour called the Berlin Tour in Las Vegas in September. Casting will be announced in the coming months for the second tour. Face masks are no longer required in Disneyland parks, in Disneyland Paris parks, effective March 1st. The Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel has officially opened as of March 1st.
Ryan McCartan will join the Frozen Tour for a limited time from March 17th to April 17th, 2022, temporarily replacing Austin Colby.
For the role of Hans, which he played right
which he originated.
No, he didn't originate.
I
He
thought
had gotten cast like 2 weeks before the Broadway shutdown, aka when Frozen shut down on Broadway.
Oh, just kidding. Okay.
So he was the closing Hans on Broadway.
Right. That was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That was like 2 whole pages.
Almost 2.5.
Yeah. Rapid fire round. High five. So, we will see y'all in the outro. I'm exhausted.
I am too. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Fan Fatales. We are a proud part of the Real Fans Network.
That's right, and there is a huge variety of shows to listen to, like Real Fans for Real Movies, Holy Backcast, Disorder, Please Rewind, and many more.
Join us next week where we will be discussing some of Star Wars what-if scenarios and some Star Wars theories.
Remember to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts.
We are on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcast, and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Please leave us a review or comment down below to tell us what you thought of the show. Remember to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at FanFatalesPod for the latest updates and to possibly be featured in a future episode. Now, Emma, where can the people find you on social media?
So my Instagram and TikTok are both at SnippyEmma, which is SNIPPYEMMA. What about you, Gabs?
I'm at Gaby Gent on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. That's GABYJENT.
Our music is by our amazing friend Maddie Macon.
And our editing is by the wonderful Carol Linsmeyer.
As always, thanks for tuning in.
Bye!